Tea is the world's second most popular drink. Billions and billions of cups are drunk around the globe every day. Assam tea is one of the best-known global brands. It's renowned for its strength, taste and aroma. This film is about a remarkable Indian company, Luxmi Tea, which is celebrating its centenary. Today, Luxmi Tea has 10 factories and 17 gardens in Assam and in other parts of northeast India. Its head office is in Calcutta, the capital of the Indian tea industry. It was also the capital of the British Indian Empire till 1911. I was born in Calcutta and my father and uncle were both in tea. So I've always been fascinated by the tea industry. Assam and the rest of the northeast are particularly beautiful parts of India and rich in wildlife. There are still some jungles for the wildlife to live, and there are some open grasslands too. In the 1830s, the East India Company started clearing large areas of the jungle, using elephants as bulldozers. They planted tea on the land they cleared, creating India's first commercial tea plantations. The climate and the soil of Assam proved particularly suitable for growing tea. The British made sure that they monopolized the tea trade. Strict measures were taken to see that Indians did not enter this lucrative business. The tea was packed in wooden chests and carried to Calcutta in country boats. From Calcutta, it was exported to Britain and other countries. In the 20th century, Calcutta was one of the centers of the movement for Indian independence. The movement's leader was the legendary Mahatma Gandhi. Inspired by Gandhi's call for India to be self-reliant, Paresh Chandra Chatterjee determined to break the British monopoly of tea, but he hit a roadblock. The British wouldn't grant any land to Paresh Chandra Chatterjee to grow tea because they didn't want any Indian to break their monopoly. So he came to the state of Tripura in a remote corner of eastern India where a Maharaja ruled from this magnificent palace. The Maharaja was only too happy to cock a snoot at the British. So that's how Paresh Chandra Chatterjee came to plant his first tea in Tripura, the beginning of the Luxmi Tea Empire. This was the small office on his first tea estate, and this was the factory now abandoned. The production of tea has grown from 100,000 kilograms to 15 million kilograms per year. Different Luxmi gardens produce different flavors for different markets. The tea produced is packed in bulk or packaged in modern branded pouches to be marketed nationally and internationally. All the operations of the company are controlled at Luxmi's head office in the business center of Calcutta.
My grandfather was a great enthusiast for propagating new kinds of seeds in those days, in both Tripura and in Assam. And my father, of course, was extremely passionate. He went right after college to the tea estate. I too am very passionate about tea, bringing it to new consumers, bringing it to generations.
Make a fair brightness and fullness with good strength.
Every day, a senior executive tastes samples of recently manufactured tea.
Well-sized, grainy, good internal type, infusion fair.
His comments and suggestions are relayed to the garden managers so that they can make adjustments in plucking and manufacturing. Although Luxmi Tea is a family business, its management is thoroughly professional. All the senior executives are highly qualified and have invaluable experience.
The color of the liquor.
Quality is consistent. They want a reddish bright tea. It's not golden, but a reddish bright tea is required by this market, which is catered by Batini.
Yeah, as far as our group is concerned, Shamguri and Dhuli, these are the two marks which have done very well accepted by the UK buyers. As Gautam just mentioned, primarily because of the cup quality.
24 million down. 24 million down. But our exports are increasing.
Yes. We have done some good business of Monobali to Russia as well as to Iran also.
And they have evoked good inquiry from Kazakhstan and all this.
Our exports are up.
Ours too, correct.
We have improved over year-to-year basis.
Dipankar Chatterjee, son of the founder and now chairman of Luxmi Tea, likes nothing better than seeing for himself how the gardens are faring. I joined a discussion he was having with the company's visiting advisor, Devraj Singh. You have this passion for tea, don't you?
I was very young when I came to the garden. I have no choice. That was the order from my father. So gradually I developed the interest for tea, and one day I found that it has entered into my system, in my blood.
Dipankar insists that productivity and quality must be maintained by uprooting bushes more than 50 years old. This is costly because it means no tea will be produced on this land for the next 6 years, but it pays in the end. Every year, Luxmi Tea uproots around 100 hectares of old tea bushes, requiring nurseries to produce nearly 2 million plants to take their place. Each garden maintains its own nursery. Cloning is now the most common way of growing tea bushes. The mother bushes from which cuttings are taken are specially chosen for their yield and the flavour and aroma of their tea. After the soil has been enriched, the land for replanting has to be scientifically prepared, with exactly the right distance between each plant and each row of plants. The plants have to be carefully checked too.
Poda, এই প্লান্টসটা চেঞ্জ করো এটা রিং ये আছে टेढ़ा हो गया
माफ करे और ढेला फुटा दे मेरी ढेला फुटा दे ढेला फुटा
Leaves will be plucked from these bushes after 3 years, but it'll take 6 to 7 years for them to mature fully.
These plants will be there for another 50 years. It will be yielding.
Yeah.
So this is very important.
Yes, this is a crucial
There
moment.
used to be a manager, he used to tell the assistant manager, the pit you are digging, you will never see it again in your life.
Right, yes.
So be very careful about it.
Yes. I wouldn't like to have to do that job.
This sort of plant should be rejected, you see? This one. You take it out. You take it out both the plants. This will never grow.
Growing and manufacturing tea is very labor-intensive. Each garden has thousands of permanent workers. Their families are given a home, subsidized rations and other facilities. The children of workers are given free education. Every Luxmi garden has a hospital with trained doctors and nurses.
Aji pressure 2 kilo. Ator kilo. Ye 2 time kama.
The Indian tea industry is the second largest employer in the country. Today's workers are the descendants of forest dwellers who were brought from distant parts of India by the British to work on their tea gardens. Tea plucking is almost always done by women. They are highly skilled, knowing how to pluck exactly the right leaves with amazing rapidity. Vast areas of a garden need to be plucked every day. The women are paid by the weight of the leaves they pluck. A detailed record of tea each labourer has plucked is maintained. This also indicates the productivity of the bushes. Eventually the leaves are taken to the factory. They must not be exposed to sun for too long or be damaged while being transported. Luxmi Tea has always held to the principle of a fair day's wage for a fair day's work. Today is payday. Luxmi Tea knows very well that keeping workers who plant and pluck the tea and operate the factory happy is essential if the present quantity and quality of tea produced is to be maintained. Achieving and maintaining good labour relations is no mean task. When you consider that 2,000 people are being paid just in this one garden today. Recreation is important too in Luxmi Tea's scheme of things. Football is the most popular game among the tea garden workers. Each garden has a football team. The pipes and drums of the 3rd Assam Rifles entertain the crowd before the inter-garden football competition final starts. The match is very much a family occasion. The women who do the plucking come to cheer on their men. The managers of the tea gardens, or planters as they are known, along with their assistants, are crucial. They have to manage the workers. The tea bushes require their constant attention to see they are healthy and are being properly nurtured. The leaves have to be correctly manufactured, and the garden must make money.
We've been very lucky in having the best of the industry. come and work with us. And we are also very fortunate to have a very good pool of talent coming in today. It is our responsibility to train, to engage, so that the tea business remains attractive occupation for the future.
Perfectly all right, too fine. You'll be losing both in quality and quantity.
Davis's Day is one of Luxmi Tea's enthusiastic young assistants. He's in charge of the garden where the Luxmi Tea story started, Paresh Chandra.
This section is very old. It's going for uprooting for next year. So this vacancy is
So that will be completely new tea.
new tea.
With new job opportunities in expanding and modernizing India, Luxmi Tea is finding it difficult to get enough workers for some of its gardens. That's why the company has turned to mechanical plucking. It's quicker than hand plucking and requires fewer workers. But these machines can't match the skill of women pluckers. The machines pluck much more crudely, so a lot of stalk gets included in the leaf, and that affects the quality. So, wherever possible, Luxmi Tea still prefers human hands to machine. In the drive to increase productivity, some tea gardens have polluted natural water supplies and degraded the soil by excessive use of chemical fertilizers and insecticides. Luxmi Tea is firmly committed to maintaining the natural balance of its garden's ecology.
We as a responsible company about environment, we take care of our ecology in and around our states. We have programs to replenish what we are taking out of nature. We always maintain a balance between trees that we plant in the tea garden areas. We have an annual approved budget by our board of directors to plant so many number of trees with specific species that are to be used. I can say this with pride that tea gardens are actually not degrading the environment. They are in fact adding the environment. We are planting something like 15,000 tea bushes in a hectare of land. Now this is a plant, and a plant takes and a plant gives. Now that we ensure that it does not come out in any way in the negative side of it.
Luxmi's 10 factories convert the plucked tea leaves into the different teas we drink. Factories manufacture green tea, CTC or crushed, tear and curl tea, and orthodox tea. Dhuli Garden Factory is renowned for manufacturing orthodox tea that is popular in Britain and the Gulf countries. The rolling machines turn and twist the leaf. This process produces the traditional whole leaf tea. Orthodox tea is the most costly to produce, but it also fetches the best prices. Manu Valley is the largest and most modern of Luxmi's factories. It manufactures CTC tea. When they arrive at the factory, the leaves are laid out to wither until they dry to just the condition needed to get the best out of them. Luxmi Tea has processes in place to ensure that everything goes exactly right at each stage of manufacturing. The leaves are cut and crushed. Automation has increased the efficiency of this factory and helped to maintain quality control. The cut and crushed leaves are then rolled and rolled until they form granules. The next stage is oxidization, which turns the granules naturally brown, without any coloring or chemicals being used. Managers check this process carefully, because if the granules get over-oxidized, their flavor will be ruined. Finally, the granules are dried, which is again carefully monitored. Since Luxmi Tea bought this factory and garden, production has increased almost 50 times. Very ordinary tea was manufactured. Now Manu Valley tea commands the highest price in the region. Luxmi Tea is specially manufactured to suit specific customers' palates. The customers range from shoppers in boutiques in New York and St. Petersburg to Indians in roadside tea stalls. Tea from Narayanpur Garden is sold mainly in India. The manager of Narayanpur, Murari Prasad Saikia, tells me that his tea is particularly popular in the Indian desert state of Rajasthan. Jaipur is the capital of Rajasthan and one of the most popular tourist destinations in India, renowned for its palaces and forts. India is the second largest producer of tea, and with its vast population, it's the largest drinker of tea. The most popular drink is known as chai. It's black tea boiled with milk. Sugar and spices are added to suit local taste. Chai is enjoyed by millions across India in tea stalls like this one on the Jaipur-Agra highway. Tea is delicious, and it's also a cure for several ailments. It heals the body and refreshes the mind. Takeaway tea in a plastic bag, that I've never seen before, and just goes to show the popularity of tea from Lakshmi's Narayanpur garden. Early in the morning, men gather at this tea shop for their first cup of Narayanpur tea. It's specially manufactured to suit the water in this state and to produce a strong cup with a particular taste liked by these hardy people. As a good marketing man, Rudra Chatterjee is anxious to get feedback from his customers.
मैं 16 साल के छोटा सा बच्चा था तब से ये दुकान कर रहा हूँ।
बहुत बढ़िया।
मेरी 53 साल की एज हो गई, 36वीं साल चल रही है। सिर्फ नारायणपुर चाय की ही मेहरबानी।
बहुत बढ़िया।
200 kg पर डे घर का पैदा किया हुआ दूध यूज आता है।
200 kilos a day.
और एक कट्टा रोज का आपका नारायणपुर चाय।
और लोग क्यों नारायणपुर चाय इतना पसंद करते हैं?
क्वालिटी देते हैं, मेन चीज क्वालिटी, और इस एरिया में सिर्फ नारायणपुर चाय के अलावा कोई चाय यूज करना पसंद नहीं करते।
बहुत बढ़िया। आपके लिए बहुत अच्छा है।
बहुत अच्छा है। बहुत शुक्रिया।
I discussed marketing Luxmi Tea with Rudra in the garden of the Rambagh Palace Hotel in Jaipur.
चाय कहाँ का है? नारायणपुर, अच्छा।
Narayanpur Orthodox, he said.
Orthodox. You manufacture huge amounts of tea, but what do you do with it? How do you sell it all?
What is most important is to understand how the customer is drinking the tea. The water of that area, which is very important for tea. Do they add milk? How much sugar do they add? And understanding the behavior of the customer, which is very important. And then going back to the field, plucking the right leaf, firing at the right temperature to make sure that we are delivering to the customer based on their taste.
So Luxmi Tea is very much into innovation, into keeping up with changing tastes and changing times.
Whether in Rajasthan or in Russia, in the United States, in the neighboring state of Gujarat, we go deep into the state. It's almost like even in marketing, we like to grow roots. It's not only in the field, and stay there. And other than making the right tea, you also develop the trust and faith of the community you serve. We try to sell the tea we make, and we take a lot of pleasure in seeing the customer happy drinking our tea.
Now, 100 years old, Luxmi Tea is slaking the thirst of millions of Indians. It's also a major player in the international market. This has been achieved because Luxmi Tea always recognizes the contribution of everyone, from the top management to the women who pluck the tea. Luxmi Tea's vision for the future is to be the preferred and most trusted source for tea.